Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our second edition of Live with Lakeland. For those of you that have joined us in the past minute, welcome to our second edition of Live with Lakeland. We will get started here momentarily. Looks like we already have a question in the Q&A, so you should automatically be muted. You can always check to make sure that your microphone has a red line through it, and that will indicate that you are muted. And if you do choose to raise your hand, we can allow you to access the audio. So I will touch base on that later, but just as a heads up, that is what that function is for. Okay, so welcome everyone. Might as well get started. I think we are going to have a full hour today. We have a great lineup of people here to talk to you about Lakeland and the services that we provide to our students. So it's going to be very informative, and you are going to get to hear from a wealth of knowledge and expertise from our staff here at Lakeland. To begin, I will ask, so my name is Kaylee. I am the Recruitment Enrollment Supervisor here at Lakeland. And I take care of our university transfer and our trades and technology programs. I will hand it over to our recruitment enrollment team to introduce themselves, because you will be hearing from them a little bit today. Danielle, let's start with you.
Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Waite, Enrollment Specialist on the Vermilion campus. And I am working with the Ag students, Environmental, Human Services, and our Fire Emergency Services crew. So happy to see everybody.
Jessica?
Hi, my name is Jessica Amengerd, and I am the Enrollment Specialist on the Lloydminster campus. I work with our Business, Energy, and Health and Wellness departments.
My name is Shania Magnuson. I am the Recruitment Advisor on the Lloydminster campus. So I travel around to high schools and talk to prospective students. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So you probably recognize our names or have been chatting with us basically since last fall about your studies for Lakeland. And Shania's going to put a poll up here just to get an idea of who we have joining us today. So you can answer the poll if you are a prospective student, so you haven't applied to Lakeland, or if you are a first-year student coming into Lakeland in August, or if you're a returning Lakeland College student. So we'll just get an idea of who we are chatting with today. I see Shania has hit the record button, but just to let everybody know that this webinar is being recorded, and then it will be emailed out. So if you have friends that can't get into the webinar or didn't get a chance to attend, it will be recorded and emailed to them, so they are not going to miss anything. And as I had touched on earlier, we do have an opportunity for you to ask questions. I see we've got a few coming in already. So you'll have the Q&A box on your screen, and you can actually answer, you can type in the Q&A box if you wanted to answer with your name, or ask anonymously or with your name. So just if you want to remain anonymous, you can ask your question anonymously. And if you raise your hand, you'll be given the opportunity to verbally ask a question. We probably, just to ensure the smooth flow of our webinar, will ask you to raise your hand at the end of the webinar, just so we'll get through all the people that we have to speak with today. But during the webinar, you can feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box. So I'm just going to go for a brief overview here of Lakeland. So Lakeland, we do have two campuses, one in Vermilion and one in Lloydminster. So we'll touch on the Vermilion campus. This is just going to be kind of a brief overview, because some of you probably have already applied to Lakeland and been accepted for fall. So obviously on our Vermilion campus, we have about a 3,000-acre student-managed farm, a dairy learning center for our dairy specialty in our animal science program. We also have a 50-acre student state-of-the-art student emergency training center, the most live training in Canada for our fire and emergency training. We also have apprenticeship and pre-employment trades on a Vermilion campus, interior design program, field week with our environmental science students, and on both of our campuses, you can have the opportunity to live on campus and get that college experience by living in our residence villages. Move to Lloydminster. So Lloydminster, each campus is program specific. So what's offered in Vermilion is not offered in Lloyd and vice versa. So in Lloydminster, we do have our business programs. We have a, let's get Shania to move the slide there while I'm talking. We have the opportunity for students to do Speaker's Corner, so where they learn their public speaking skills. We have an esthetician and hairstyling program. So we have salon and spa right on campus. And we do offer a healthcare aid program. And then what is really popular in Lloydminster, students can start their degree and even complete their degree with us through a university transfer program. And I can't remember if I mentioned it, but we also have power engineering. We actually have a working power engineering lab right on our campus. So that is kind of an overview of Lakeland, and it looks like most of us kind of in here are going to be first-year students. So welcome to Lakeland. We are thrilled to have you, and thrilled that you have chose us for your post-secondary. So now I know us in enrollment and recruitment, we've been getting a lot of questions about what is fall 2020 going to look like. Obviously, in the middle of a pandemic, we all join you from our homes, and our campuses are currently closed to the public. But we do have some idea of how fall 2020 will look in terms of delivery for our program. So we want to mention that to you today. The past couple of weeks, we've also been having specific webinars to programs. So if you've got an opportunity to join those, that is great, because you would have heard directly from the department, from the instructors, about how fall 2020 is going to look, what to expect. Will I be in class? Will I be at home? Will I be online? Stuff like that. At the end, I will show you where you can find those webinar recordings on our website, just in case you missed them and want to rewatch them and just learn about how your program will look for fall 2020. But now I'm going to pull in Danielle and Jessica. We'll start with Danielle to talk kind of a brief overview about, just to give you an idea how their programs will look in fall.
Okay, so actually our first one coming up is going to be our Fire and Emergency Services July 27th, and it's going to be on campus in person. That will be one of our first crew back, which we're pretty excited about. And then the rest of the crew, Environmental, Ag, and Human Services, starting August 31st, you're going to be having a blended delivery. And for the most part, in all three of those areas, that is the case, meaning that your labs will be in person as much as possible, and that our lectures will be a mix of online and in person. Because remember, every one of us is on Vermilion campus, so we're working to coordinate everybody so that there isn't as much crossover and still stick within the social guidelines, which seem to be changing every other day here. And so we're working very hard to make sure that you guys get the Lakeland experience of that hands-on aspect. For example, with Ag, you will be still doing your blended student-managed farm and those labs. Environmental sciences, usually they have classes in the morning and lectures, and then all of their labs are in the afternoon. And so those will be as in person as possible. And again, with human services, making that nice blend between in-person and on-campus learning, as well as doing some virtual practicums if that is needed or necessary, depending on the situations. And all of our departments are very willing to work with you, so please just reach out and get in touch if you're wondering about that. I think that's all that I got. Jessica?
Awesome. Yeah, so as Danny had said, we're excited to welcome everyone back this year in a blended format. So for business, we're going to be offering most of our lectures online, and there's going to be opportunity as students for you to attend some lectures in class as well. For the health and wellness, similarly to what Danny had said, we're going to be offering our labs as in person as possible with the social distancing protocols in place. And then a lot of the lecture material will be available online as well. Similarly to our energy department with the 4th class power engineering and our HOOT and our HOPE program, we're going to be offering our labs in person, and we're going to be offering the lectures online as well. And our 2nd class power engineering is going to be offered online with 1 day a week in class. And yeah, so it's going to be a blended model going forward.
Thank you. Just to echo what Danielle and Jessica said, you probably chose Lakeland for the hands-on component. So we are working very hard to deliver that to you as safely as we can as possible, and by following Alberta Health Services guidelines. So our university transfer will also be a blended. Students probably will have the opportunity to come into campus and attend a class in person. And then there will also be online virtual lectures. So again, that blended format. For our university transfer labs, still blended. They are working at looking at some at-home science lab kits, and then of course in-person science labs as well. Our apprenticeship and pre-employment programs, like our fire and emergency training programs, are mostly going to be in person, face-to-face on our Vermilion campus. And they don't start until later September and mid-October. So we do have a little bit of time with those programs, but they primarily will be a face-to-face delivery. Okay, I'm just going to remind everybody before we get started here to please check your email. So Lakeland does communicate with students a lot via email, especially over the summer, and especially this year since we do have a lot of new and not typical information coming to you. So make sure to watch your emails, check your spam folder. Sometimes our emails go there. So please just keep an eye on your emails, but know that Danielle, Jessica, Shania, and myself are here over the summer to answer any questions that you have about starting classes. Most of them will start on August 31st. So yeah, just keep an eye on your emails as a reminder. So today you're going to get to hear from our financial aid department and our learning commons. So they will, I know there's lots of questions about financial aid and what kind of services and supports are going to be available to students in the fall. So we have 4 guests joining us today that are going to talk to you about what they do and how they support students at Lakeland. So to get started, we're going to start off with Lindsay Gorkoff, and she's going to talk to you about financial aid. Oh, I think, Lindsay, you're muted.
Okay, there we go. I realized I was muted. I just couldn't figure out how to get it off. Anyways, thank you again, everybody, for coming. My name is Lindsay Gorkoff. I am the Financial Aid and Awards Advisor at Lakeland College. So the Financial Aid and Awards Office is located within Student Services, but for the time being, as with most services we're providing, we're doing most things either through email, Teams meetings, and phone calls. So definitely, as you can see on this screen here, we've got our email address as well as the financial aid section of the Lakeland College website. And then also I've included a few phone numbers of people that can help you. So if you are attending a program on the Lloydminster campus, you can definitely chit chat with Juanita. Her number's there as well. Anybody can email that financial aid inbox. We all check that. So if you have questions moving forward or want to know something about financial aid or awards, definitely either send us an email or give us a call. Doretta and myself, we work on financial aid and awards for the college as a whole, but we are both located on the Vermilion campus. So anybody who has questions for us, again, email us or give us a phone call. When it comes to financial aid and awards, so just an outline here of everything that we deal with. So we deal with student funding. So that is everything from government student loans to sponsorships, to other funding that students may have. RESPs, student services deals a lot with how confirmation of enrollment letters and things like that that students require in order to secure their funding. And also working with each of the provincial governments and administering, confirming students and remitting funds for government student loans. If you have questions regarding government student loans, please definitely give us a call as well. I'll get a little bit more into that in a second though. Another part of our job is the Lakeland College Awards Program. The awards program is actually comprised of bursaries, awards, and scholarships that we administer at the college. And the way that Lakeland College offers our awards program is at different points in the year, we have different application periods open. So one really good thing to do, if you haven't already, is to download the Lakeland College app onto your cell phone, because we will post whenever an application period opens with a link to the applications themselves. And then the last one on that previous slide, was the external awards. So just moving forward, that's okay. External awards. So we do manage an external awards site. So any kind of companies or foundations that are offering their own and administering their own awards, we will post that information if our students are eligible. So lots of different stuff there. Moving on to the next slide there. Just wanted to give you a quick overview of what the financial aid and awards section looks like on our website. So you can see everything related to government student loans. You can see at the bottom, our awards program, different other options for funding your education. All of that is available on our website. So definitely have a look there first. You should be able to find what you're looking for. If you can't or you're having trouble navigating, you can always let us know and we can kind of point you in the right direction. But again, our awards program is up there. There's a directory of everything that's available through our awards program, as well as government student awards. So links to each provincial student loan website. And there's also the external awards links page. Okay. So just today wanting to kind of go through what some important dates will be for you moving forward as an incoming student to Lakeland College. So if you are coming into Lakeland College and you are applying for a government student loan, make sure you apply for your government student loan through the province that you reside in. It doesn't matter that you're coming to an institution in Alberta, you will still go through the provincial government student loan program in your province. That being said, if you are coming from out of province, there usually is an extra form that we need to complete in order for you to apply for your student loan. So for most provinces, that's called a program information form. So important to note that as part of your application, you need to send that to us, and that's just that general financial aid at lakelandcollege.ca website or email address. Make sure you get us that form, we fill it out, send it back to the government on your behalf. So just to make sure, you know, important things, go to the provincial government student loan website in your province, and everything except I think BC is the only one that's not open yet. But every other province's 2021 student loan application, I believe, has been posted. And BC, if you happen to be from BC, they say mid-July, theirs will be up. As well, just so everybody's aware, as part of the student loan, government student loan program, you are both assessed for provincial and federal loans and grants. So it's one application you fill out and you're assessed for all of that as part of that one application. So you're assessed for provincial loans in the province where you reside, as well as federal loans and grants. Okay. And then and if you have questions about things like sponsorship, or you're being funded by somebody to take your studies, make sure you touch base with us as well, and that we have the paperwork that shows that you are being funded by another agency, okay? The other piece, of course, to financial aid and awards is the awards program. So as an incoming student, the next application period that you will be in October. So in October, we will post again on the app, but those applications for our general bursaries, as well as our government Indigenous awards. So we have 2 awards that are specific to Indigenous students that students can apply for in the month of October. Those applications are currently they're PDF documents, so they're fillable. And then you do an electronic signature and you email them back to us. So if you have any technical issues with ever filling out an application for us, definitely let us know as well. But those applications will be available to you. And the next part of our awards program is in January. So in January, again, we will post award and scholarship applications. And then at the end of the school year, we call it our year-end awards. In March, from March to April, students can apply. There's a couple of year-end awards for returning students that you can apply for as well. So definitely lots to apply for with Lakeland College. We give out approximately $1.5 million a year in bursaries, awards, and scholarships. So you definitely want to take advantage of some of that if you can, and fill out those applications. Again, if you download the Lakeland College app on your phone, you will see notifications posted when application periods open. And then just, of course, addressing the current environment that we're in right now. And so that everybody knows, with the government student loans this year, there have been some changes to the loans program on the federal side of things to help students who might be facing some additional financial difficulties because of COVID-19. So I've pulled these right off of the federal government site as to what kind of adjustments they've made. So there is additional grant funding available for students. They've changed kind of the guidelines that how they assess their grant funding, what the thresholds for income are, as well as students' spousal and parental income. They are readjusting how they're including that in the calculation for eligibility for loans and grants. So just to be aware, but that is only for this year, for the 2021 school year. There's no guarantee that those will be a permanent adjustment moving forward. So if you are considering applying for a government student loan and you're not really sure if you want to do that, this would be a good year to apply, because you could be eligible for additional back to the government. So any kind of grant fund, when you apply for a student loan, they do tell you how much of your funding is loan funding and how much is grant funding. So you will know that that portion, the grant portion of your loan or of your funding, does not have to be repaid. So this year would be a good year to apply for a loan if you're considering it. Okay. I'm not really sure how to manage the questions and answers. I don't know if there's something if people are asking questions. If I'm not able, go ahead.
Sorry, Lindsay, there is some questions related to you. So if you don't mind, I will just read them out to you, and we will work through them.
Okay.
When should we apply for a government loan?
Government loans apply as soon as you can. They were late coming out this year. Usually they're out by mid-June, but most provinces have just released them within the last week or so. Because they are online now, it is a quicker process. You can get approved faster than in the past maybe, but do it right away.
Thank you. I think you just answered this question. Is processing the student loan application going to take longer due to COVID?
It shouldn't, because that's why they took longer in getting their applications up on loaded so that students can apply, because they needed to adjust those calculations and make sure that they were calculating need appropriately.
Yeah. Autumn, I see you have a good question here about some scholarships in my email, sorry, in my area require college email. When will I get that? Also, I know tuition is due the first day of classes, but when do I choose classes or hear about my schedule? So I will answer that one via typing to you, just because that is a good question about when you will get access to your college email. When do I apply for the Canada Student Grant for students? I'm saying that's with permanent disabilities.
That is part of the loan application itself. So on every student loan application for full-time studies, you do a full-time application for full-time studies. There is a checkbox that says, are you a student with a permanent disability? You want to make sure you check yes. That automatically gets you assessed for the basic grant for students with disabilities. If you are requiring additional services and equipment to assist you being successful in college, there is an additional grant that does require a form to be filled out by accessibility services here at the college. So you still need to apply for your full-time student loan, and then there's the extra form that when you meet with your accessibility services coordinator or support staff, they will fill that out for you.
There's been a lot of questions about tuition and kind of when it's due and how we can pay. So Lindsay, can I kind of put you on the spot here just to answer that general question?
For sure. So tuition and mandatory fees and residence, if you're living in residence, are due on the first day of each semester. If you are applying for a government student loan, about, I think it's 15 to 21 days prior to the start date of your program, we will get notification from your student loan provider to confirm that you are enrolled. And at that time, we can request tuition and mandatory funding come directly to the college. So you're not responsible for paying it out of pocket. We actually take it off of your approved student loan. So you might want to just confirm with us that, or note to us that you are applying for a government student loan. We should see you in the system though if you've been approved. So you need to be approved in order for us to request the funds. Once we know that you've been approved for a loan and we know that we've requested the funds, then you don't have to pay out of pocket. We will wait for those funds to come from the government.
Thank you. This is actually a really good question. Can you apply for loans before you know if you're accepted for the course you applied for?
You can. What'll happen on the Alberta side of things, so Student Aid Alberta, your application will go through with no problem. It'll be when we have to confirm enrollment that you'd have to be accepted into the program. For out of province, because there is that extra piece that that program information form we need to complete, we would need to see that you have been accepted. So you can go ahead and start the application process and send us that form, and then we will wait until we see your application has been approved, or you have been accepted, sorry, that you've been accepted to the college before we submit that piece.
And I know lots of Saskatchewan students are getting those program information forms right now. So just a reminder, you can send those to us, send them to Lindsay or Juanita in Student Services, and we will get those sent off for you. Anything I'm missing with those forms, Lindsay?
No, just make sure that you don't fill anything on that form in, just send it in as it is from the government. when you apply for your government student loan with Saskatchewan, they will give you a copy of the program information form that has your application number and your name pre-printed on it. So that's the copy of the form that we want. There is some template versions of the form floating around, but we would really prefer that you send us the one that has your name and your application ID on it so that we know we're filling out for the correct person.
Thank you. And another question, how many classes is considered full-time for the government loan application?
It depends on the program you're in. We get that question a lot, and it really does depend on the program you're in. If your full course load would be 30 credits per semester, then you need to be in 9 credits in order to be considered full-time per semester. If your course load, so for example, human services, their course load is actually 20 credits. Their course load. So in order to be considered full-time, they need to be in 12 credits to be considered full-time. So you have to look at your schedule and see what a full course load, credit load would be, and determine it that way.
Thank you. And another question, are residence fees included in what automatically comes off the student loans?
So when you're assessed for your student loan, you are assessed for cost of living. So that is part of the assessment, part of what you're approved for is those kind of costs. However, if you live in a residence, we aren't legally allowed to take money to cover residence fees. So they treat everybody the same, whether you're living in an apartment or whether you're living in a residence. They're making that your responsibility to pay those fees. You will get funding to do that, but you have to make arrangements to pay that. We can't automatically request those funds.
I think this is going to be the last one for you, Lindsay, here. Can student loans and grants be used for anything other than tuition? For an example, dorms, groceries?
Right. So they are, like I said, it's all based on, so they're looking at the cost of your schooling, but also the cost of living while you're at school. So they are going to provide you funding for rent or residence, as well as costs for food, groceries, essential living. They do their own calculation for that. You can't tell them, hey, I pay $800 a month for rent. They don't ask for that information. They're basing things on whether you're single or married, or whether you have children or not, whether you're living away from home or in the same community as you're going to school. So they have their own calculation, and that is up on each provincial website how they calculate that. But that money can be used for anything cost of living related.
I think you may have touched on this earlier in your slides, but where can students apply for scholarships?
So applications will be available online during the application period. So you'll see information up for all of our awards and scholarships, but we also do provide a kind of a breakdown that says when bursary applications will be out, when our January applications will be out, year end. So you can see that on our website, as well as get that on the app when the application period's open.
And I will just ask Shania if she wants to go back to the original slide just for a quick second here, where all your contact information is, just in case students do want to contact. So there you can see the financial aid inbox, financialaid@lakelandcollege.ca. Joretta, who is also in our financial aid department, Lindsay, who gave us all the information today, and Juanita. So Juanita will be specifically for Lloydminster campus students. Joretta and Lindsay can be contacted for Vermilion campus students. So take a picture of that if you do have any other questions. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for all your information, and hopefully the student loans and scholarships and awards questions got answered, but if you guys do have any other questions, Lindsay, Joretta, and Winita are available throughout the summer too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so next off, we are going to hear from Chantel Walker, who is our counselor on campus. So I will pass it over to her.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chantel Walker. I'm the counseling psychologist on the Lloydminster campus. I am part of the Commons team. You'll hear from other people from our team momentarily, but our role is to help and support you to be successful at Lakeland College. So counseling and wellness. So who can access counseling and wellness services? Counseling and wellness is for everyone. I like people to think about mental health, just as you would think about your physical health. So think about coming to talk to a counselor like you would go and talk maybe to your doctor, just to get maybe even a mental health tune-up. That's part of what we do at Lakeland College. So I can see people individually for many things, for maybe even loneliness, coming to college, culture shock, stress and anxiety, test anxiety. So a whole range of things. There's lots of students that also access Lakeland College is really proud to offer some evidence-based programs that have been around for a long time. One of them is mindfulness-based stress reduction, and that program is available for students. That's a group. The other program we offer is mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. That's also an evidence-based program. We have lots of different kinds of wellness events that all students are welcome to. We have a program that we teach at Lakeland College called Inquiring Minds, and you get a certificate from the Mental Health Commission of Canada. We'll be offering another program called QPR, where you can get a certificate. So why might you want to go for counseling? Because there's lots of research that suggests that when we're mentally healthy, that increases your academic success. And so that's why you're all here. Also increases your happiness and well-being. Counseling services will be all available in person and online. So there's the contact information for myself. I'm on the Lloydminster campus, and the Elise is on the Vermilion campus. So I would encourage you to do what was suggested and maybe just take a picture of that screen, because you never know when you might need that kind of support. Also, I think you've been encouraged to download the app. That's another way to get a hold of the counseling and wellness team, or to go onto the Lakeland College's website is another way where, again, I'm under the Commons, another great way to get a hold of me. And if you're feeling nervous and you have a few questions about coming to college and what's that's like, and you want to get in touch with me, then please email me. It's usually the best way, and I'll figure out a way. We'll meet virtually probably now. Another resource that I can recommend for you during this time is something called Moving from Surviving to Thriving. It's a resource that's been put out by the Mental Health Commission of Canada. You can just Google that. And it's got a lot of great tips and strategies for helping get prepared when you go off to college. So welcome. I'm looking forward to meeting you all. And just chat, I guess, if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Chantel. I don't think there was any questions in the Q&A specific to counseling. So next we will move on to our accessibility advisor, Tammy, to talk about her supports for students.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here today. I can't wait for September to start and hopefully getting to see some students in person. So my job, like Kaylee said, is accessibility advisor. And my role is to support students who have diverse learning needs. And that can mean anything from having a learning disability to having a physical disability, a chronic medical condition, perhaps a mental health diagnosis, ADHD. And so those are kind of some of the long-term things that I can support, but I can also support some short-term barriers to learning. So things like concussions, or if it's going through medical treatments while you're in college, that might impact your learning or your ability to attend classes, that kind of thing. So those are some things like I just want everyone to remember as you go through the year, because you never quite know what's going to happen. So for students with identified disabilities, when you come from high school is a completely different system than college. So your information actually doesn't get forwarded to us. If you have any kind of learning need or disability, that's something that you're going to have to self-identify once you get to the college. And I'm the person that you can self-identify that to. If you're on the Vermilion campus, the accessibility advisor there is Dale Pierce. So he would be your contact on that campus for any programs that you're attending there. So some of the accommodations that you accessed in high school are very likely available to you at a college level. They just might look a little bit different, or you might need to access them in a different way. So some common things that we do throughout the year are providing confidential note takers for students, content tutoring. So that's someone who already has a degree or diploma or journeyman's in that particular area, and provide tutoring because they're kind of a content expert on the courses that you're taking. We can provide alternate form digital textbooks, voice to text software, and then exam accommodations. So like extra time or exam readers, scribes, private space, those kinds of things. All of those get determined on an individual basis, and we meet with you individually to make sure that we're going to meet your needs the best way that we can. I also want to talk a little bit about the peer tutoring program, which is another thing that I help to facilitate. So all students that are registered in a 4-credit program at Lakeland College are eligible to receive free peer tutoring. And that can be up to 16 hours per semester. So it works out to 8 hours per class and up to 2 classes each semester. And there's also group tutoring sessions that are available for students. I think that is everything that I have to say. I did see a question earlier in the Q&A, and I think I answered it. Anyway, so that's all my information. Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy. And I think we have one question here for Chantel. Would one-on-one Zoom meetings work for counseling?
Hi, yes. Actually, I do have a Zoom account, and I also have another program I use that's really easy. You just click on a link. So if you're interested at all, then hopefully you got my email, chantel.walker@lakelandcollege.ca, and we can set that up. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to meeting with people. Thanks. And I probably didn't mention this. All of the services that Tammy, all of us are talking about are confidential. And free. Like all these services are confidential and free. So we're excited to support you.
Thank you so much. So now we are going to hear from Karen Harris, our learner success strategist. So I'll pass it over to you, Karen.
How come when you need a computer, it doesn't work? So that's kind of what I ran into just now. And for whatever strange reason, my video won't come up. Let's try that. There we are. So hi, everyone. Welcome to Lakeland. We, as you've heard many times already, everybody's really excited to be here. We can all tell you that that college, when no one's around, is not a whole bunch of fun. So we're excited that you're here. We're excited that you're coming. And so as it comes up on the slide, my name is Karen Harris. My title is Learner Success Strategist. And so no one knows what that means. And in English, it means I'm a learning coach. And so I specialize in how you learn. And learning is a very individual project. We kind of sometimes think that learning is just in that building called a school, whether it's high school or whatever post-secondary you're going to. And it doesn't matter what age the student I work with. It doesn't matter if they're 18 or they're 65. As soon as we start talking about learning, we go back into that little category of how you were in high school. And I'm here to say, and I'm saying this as a high school teacher, that was my previous occupation, that what you did in high school did exactly what it was supposed to do. It got you here. How you performed in high school, it doesn't have a whole lot of bearing on it because post-secondary is so different. Post-secondary means you're getting into what you want to get into. High school is general, and it means you get a little bit of everything. And that's why a lot of people say, oh man, I never studied in high school. And now I'm in post-secondary, now what am I going to do? Don't worry about it. That's where you come and see people like me. So I'm a learning coach. And the best avenue for me is sitting across from you, sitting down one-on-one and just saying, okay, who are you? And so I deal with things like sensory types and personality types and your background and what your experiences have been and where you're going and your goals and all that kind of stuff. And we put it all together and I repackage it and give it back to you, sort of thing. And that's the best way to kind of think about it. Most people can't tell what their own strengths are. And there's an instinctual component to learning. And we sort of forget that. We kind of get ourselves in this little realm that we're human and therefore we don't have instincts. Yeah, we do. We have a whole bunch of instincts and we're using them 24/7. It's just that we're using them so much that we don't even realize that we're using them. And so you have strengths. And some of you will instinctually go to your eyes more than you go to your ears. And some people will go more to how their body feels than what their brain's saying. And then you sort of wrap up how the personality types work on that and how different people's experience have affected them. And you come up with this really unique package. And people forget what their strengths are. And I have an advantage because I'm outside your picture frame. You're inside the picture frame. You can't see your strengths. But after talking with you for a while, I can usually pick up on what your strengths are. And then you turn those strengths and you work them into how you learn. Do you have to get involved with all this stuff? No, you don't. It's just a whole bunch easier if you do, because 9 times out of 10, all it needs is a little tweak. You just need to remember this skill, or you just remember this strength, or you just forgot how you were doing it and when you were successful and how that was working. Because as a success strategist, that's what I study. I study success. How do people become successful? And it's all to do with mindset and how you feel about yourself and how you feel about how you're moving forward. I could go on for hours about this, and anybody that's been around me for any time knows I can go on this for hours. It is a favorite topic of mine. It's something I think everybody should be aware of, just because it's so much easier. And it's just because when you're coming out of high school or wherever you're coming from, you've already said you want more. I want to improve for whatever reason. And your instructors are sort of what? You have this piece of paper that you're after that's going to give you the job that you're looking forward to. And your instructors are saying, okay, this is what you want to know. Your role is why. Why do I want this? And the instructors are saying, what? This is what you need to know in order to get that piece of paper. I'm the how. How do I get that stuff that's coming at me really quickly into my head? And that's what I deal with. Because time is such a huge factor. If we gave every student 6 months to write a paper or 6 months to do a test, hands down, you get 100% on it every time. But it's not 6 months. It's not even 6 weeks sometimes. It could be 6 days, or it could be 6 hours. And when that time crunch starts to come in, that puts pressure on. And when that puts pressure on, you have to be able to know how to do that efficiently and effectively. So how do you handle time? How do you handle your strengths? How do you handle it when something kind of trips you up a bit and you kind of find yourself in the ditch? I use a lot of analogies toward driving, but when you kind of find yourself in the ditch a little bit, how do you get out of there? And it's not because you're not intelligent. It's not because you can't do it. It's likely because you haven't got the right tools. And that's where you come and see me. I'm the one that says, okay, here's the tools that you're missing, or here's a brand new tool you've maybe never heard about before. But it's the tools that most people don't know that they have that I help people recognize. So I'm a how coach. And just like any other coach, if you played hockey or basketball or golf, or it doesn't matter, whatever sport you've done, you know the role of a coach. They're on the outside looking in. And so I kind of say to students, you're going to have to get off the bleachers. You're going to have to get off the side of the field, and you have to get in the game. And once you get in the game, once in a while things go a little bit wonky. And so then you come over to the coach and say, this happened and this happened and this happened. Now what do I do? And the coach will say, okay, try this, try this, try this, and try this, and then come back and tell me. And that's exactly what I do. So I work on both campuses. I spend usually Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays in Vermilion, and Tuesdays and Thursdays in Lloyd. But I work, if you're enrolled in Lakeland College, you have access to me. It doesn't matter what course you're on, any of those kinds of things. I've got my number down at the bottom there, that 780 number, that's my cell phone. And that's how students always get a hold of me. They text me and say, hey, I'm so-and-so from such and such a class. When can we sit down and talk? Usually it's about an hour and a half at the first, just so I can get to know you a little bit. But after that, we just text back and forth usually, or people just stop in at my office. And the thing that you have to remember is it's not that you can't do it. It's just that you haven't got the right tools right here, right now. So take some time. If you want to get a hold of me now, text me and we can sit back and have a little chat. It helps a lot if you get a lot of this stuff organized ahead of time. But usually people don't, and that's just human nature. It's just because you don't know you have a problem until you get there. And when you hit the problem, well, there's lots of people to talk to. And it doesn't mean that you have to know, like Chantel and Tammy have already talked to you, and you've talked to people in student services. You might get lost in this. And so use one person, and usually it's me, as the gateway, where you say, hey, I got a question about such and such. And I may not know the answer, but I know the people that know the answer, and I can direct you off. So take it, like everyone said before, take a picture of the slide, get that text number, and just text me. And we're so excited that you're here and that you're coming and that you're moving forward and things going on. None of us know what this next little bit's going to be like, but we do know we'll get through it together, and we'll have a lot of fun doing it. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We're really glad you're here. If you have some questions, you can fire them at me. I haven't got my Q&A up there because it took out too much of my screen. So welcome. We're really glad you're here, and I'll quit talking right now because if I keep on going, I can go for quite a while. So I'll hand it back over to Kaylee.
Thanks, Karen. I think you touched on this, but we do have a question. Do you have any learner success tips for this fall with some classes being online? If you want to kind of re-answer that one.
Yeah, one thing that I find that's happening to a lot of people is they're categorizing this online thing as some people really like it and some people really don't like it. And what I want to remind people of is how information comes to you has been in a variety of ways forever. And so sometimes it's one-on-one, person to person, and that's often easier. And the reason it's being easier is because we can see the whole person. You can see what the person is telling you. You can see their expressions. You can see their tone of their voice. You can see their postures. And so you're taking in all this information. That's why one-to-one is usually, people like it a lot better. And that's why we're people. People like to interact with people. A lot of resistance comes up when it comes online because it takes away a lot of times the person's posture. Sometimes, you know, and we're experienced it today. I know on my computer it hiccuped a little bit a couple of times, and that gets frustrating and all that kind of stuff. So when you're online and either liking it or not liking it, or kind of grumpy about it or not grumpy about it, one of the things you have to keep in mind is you're looking for the information. Sort of look past how it's coming at you and look at what is the information. I don't want to get too much deeper on it than that because I want to talk to the person who is asking me the question, because I want to tweak it especially for them. Of course, you can Google things, and I mean, the internet that's what it is. It's a wealth of information on information. So do some of your own stuff, like do some Googling on it, kind of look at it. But when it comes down to the finer points of it, I would love it if you just text me and we can set up a one-on-one, and then I can sort of tweak it for you, because what happens for you and what happens to your buddy that's right beside you could be completely and totally different. So I know that's not really a full answer, but that's the best answer right now when I don't know who I'm talking to, because that learning is individual. Everybody does it just a little bit differently, and I would like to make it individual for you. So text me on that number, and I can certainly help you out with that.
Thank you so much, Karen, for all of your advice. And we will move on here. We probably will be running over our 1 hour mark, so just a heads up about that. We've had a lot of questions about when am I going to get my class schedule? How can I pay my tuition online? So a lot of questions related to what we like to call our My Lakeland account. So I'm going to pull in our admissions coordinator, Amanda. I think, Amanda, you can raise your hand, and then Shania will let you speak. Amanda will just give you information about how you'll receive that My Lakeland account, when that will be coming to you, because all of your class schedules will be posted on there. Amanda, are you, I think I've seen her maybe raising her hand if she's there. Oh yeah, sorry, Shania, she's under Kelsey's. Go ahead, Amanda.
Good morning, everybody. I am the admissions coordinator on the Lloydminster campus. So just to follow up with some of your questions, we are still finalizing the timetable for fall, just with all the changes and what courses we'll be running on campus. And figuring that all out, it's taking a bit longer. So once we have that timetable finalized, then you will be enrolled in your courses, and you will be able to see that on your My Lakeland account. My Lakeland login information will be emailed around the beginning of August, so just keep checking your email. Once you've paid your tuition deposit, you'll get that email, and then you'll be able to log in. That's where you'll see your class schedule. If you don't see anything when you first log in, don't panic. Just could mean that we're still in the process of enrolling you in your courses. Once you're enrolled, you will have the option also to pay your program fees right on your account. And yeah, if there's any other questions, feel free to email admissions@lakelandcollege.ca directly, and we'll do our best to help you.
Thank you very much, Amanda. So like I said before at the start of the webinar, keep an eye on your email, and especially over the summer, because there will be a lot of important information about that. Quite a few questions coming in here about supply lists, books, and stuff like that. We are actually working on an email that is going out to all students shortly that will direct you to our website where the supply lists are located. So watch for that email coming out shortly about all the supplies and books that you will need for your program. And I know there was also a lot of residents questions coming into the Q&A. So residents has emailed all of their students about securing their room. So if you do have any questions, I think I got to them all. There is specific residents emails that I can provide you in the Q&A if you do have any other residents questions. Unfortunately, I couldn't be here today, but you can contact them directly. And if you've applied to residents, check your email, as you should have received some communication from them. The schedules will not be sent out on the Lakeland College app, so that will be through your My Lakeland account. Catherine has, what is a program deposit? So I'm assuming, Catherine, you were referring to the tuition deposit that Amanda probably spoke about. So maybe I'll turn it back over to Amanda to talk about that tuition deposit. There you go, Amanda. You should be unmuted now.
Thanks. Yeah, so the tuition deposit is what will hold your seat in the program for fall. It guarantees you a spot in the program. So some of our programs have limited capacity, and there's only a specified amount of students that can be accepted into the program. So if we don't receive that deposit, we may be able to offer that seat to another qualified applicant. If you have concerns about the program delivery or COVID and being on campus this fall, definitely reach out to admissions. We can advise you of your options for fall or future attendance at Lakeland. We ask that you do so rather soon. If you can contact us by July 24th, just so we can start to finalize the class list come August. So again, you can email admissions@lakelandcollege.ca and we will be able to outline some options for you if you have concerns.
Thank you. So in conclusion, I will just let you guys know where you can find our previous webinars that we had that were program specific. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. we do have our agricultural sciences webinar. So it is our last program specific webinar in which the department kind of gets together, program heads, chairs, and instructors, and we'll kind of talk to you about how your classes will look specifically for your program in fall 2020. So if you go to lakelandcollege.ca, you'll see in the top banner, it says accepting applications for fall 2020. See our COVID-19 updates. And if you scroll down, you'll see Live with Lakeland webinars in an orange tile. And you can access all of our webinar recordings there if you are accepted into one of our programs and miss those webinars that they're talking about fall delivery. So that was lakelandcollege.ca, and then just click the tile or the banner at the top that says COVID-19 updates, and then scroll to the bottom that says Lakeland webinar recordings. We will just take a minute here. I see there is quite a few questions coming into the Q&A, so we'll try to get through those via the text, unless Danielle, Jessica, Shania, I haven't had a chance to read them. So if there's questions there that you'd specifically like to answer live, let us know. I think the egg webinar will be recorded. They are doing Zoom, so make sure that you register for that one. But once they're all recorded, the recordings are ready, they will be posted there at that COVID-19 updates.